Thank you, Mr. Speaker. With permission, I'm delighted to make a statement today confirming the Prime Minister's weekend announcement. This government has committed an extra £14 billion to our schools across England over the next 3 years, ensuring funding for all schools can rise at least in line with inflation next year. May I also take this opportunity to thank my predecessor, the Right Honourable Member for East Hampshire, for all the groundwork that he did ahead of this settlement. The funding announcement includes a cash increase compared to 2019-20 of £2.6 billion to core schools funding next year, with increases of £4.8 billion and £7.1 billion in 2021-22 and 2022-23. This is in addition to the £1.5 billion per year that will continue to provide to fund additional pension costs for teachers over the next 3 years. This additional investment delivers on the Prime Minister's pledge to ensure that every secondary school will be allocated at least £5,000 per pupil next year, and every primary school will be allocated at least £3,750, putting primary schools on the path to receiving at least £4,000 per pupil the following year. We are allocating funding so that every school's per pupil funding can rise at least in line with inflation, and to accelerate gains for areas of the country which have been historically underfunded, with most areas seeing significant gains above inflation. We'll ensure that all schools are allocated their gains under the formula in full next year by removing the cap on gains that underfunded schools have seen over the past 2 years. This underpins our historic reforms to the overall schools funding system, so that a child with the same needs benefits from the same funding wherever they live in this country. I can reaffirm our intention to move to a hard national funding formula, where schools' budgets are set on the basis of a single national formula as soon as possible. We recognise that this will represent a significant change, and we will work closely with local authorities, schools and others to make this transition as smooth as possible. We are determined that no pupil will be held back from reaching their full potential, and this additional investment includes over £700 million to support children with special educational needs and disabilities, so that they can access the education that is right for them and the education that they need. This is an increase of over 11% on the funding available this year. Since 2010, education standards in this country have been transformed, but we are determined to go further still. On top of this funding investment, we have announced a package of measures that will intensify our efforts to support all schools in delivering consistently high standards to every single pupil in this country. We will begin a consultation to lift the inspection exemption for outstanding schools, so that parents have up-to-date information and reassurance about the education in their child's school. We'll also provide additional funding to allow Strong Academy Trust to expand, building on the success of the Academy programme as a powerful vehicle to deliver excellence and school improvement in every school in this country. And we will increase the level of support available to some of the most challenging schools that have required improvement, those that have not been judged good by Ofsted in over a decade, giving them more support from experienced school leaders so that they can deliver for the children that turn to them and expect the very best in their education. To ensure the extra school funding for schools delivers better outcomes and improves efficiency, we'll continue to expand the School Resource Management Programme supporting schools and making every single pound count. We'll also work closely with Ofsted and others to make sure parents have the information they need about how schools are utilising their funding. There are no great schools without great teachers. And this settlement underlines our determination to recognise teaching as the high-value, prestigious profession that it is. The £14 billion investment announced last week will ensure that pay can be increased for all teachers, subject to the School Teachers Review Body process. The investment will make it possible to increase teachers' starting salaries by up to £6,000, with the aim of reaching £30,000 starting salary by 2022-2023. This would make starting salaries for teachers amongst the most competitive in the graduate labour market. This sits alongside reforms to ensure our teachers have the highest quality training, supporting those already in the profession, but also attracting even more brilliant graduates into the classroom to make a difference to children's lives. And we will be making sure that teaching continues to be attractive throughout a teacher's career, launching a group of ambassador schools to champion flexible working and share good practice. A key element in supporting our teachers and leaders is to ensure that they have the tools and support to create safe and disciplined school environments. That is why we have made £10 million available to establish national behaviour hubs. The Hubs programme will be led by Tom Bennett and will enable those schools who have already achieved an excellent behaviour culture to work with other schools who have struggled in the past to drive improvement. In addition to this investment, we'll consult on revised behaviour and exclusion guidance to provide clarity and consistency to head teachers on the action they can take when pupils don't follow rules. It's vitally important that we ensure that every child succeeds in their school environment and making sure that schools are a safe place for pupils to study. We'll also be investing an extra £400 million in 16 to 19 education. This total includes £190 million to raise the base rate of funding from £4,000 at present to £4,188 next year. The additional investment is a 7% increase in overall 16 to 19 funding. The total also includes £120 million for colleges and school sixth forms, so that they can deliver crucial subjects such as engineering, which are so vital to our nation's future. Colleges and further education providers will receive an extra £25 million to deliver T-levels and an extra £10 million through the Advanced Maths Premium. A new £20 million investment will also help the sector to continue to recruit and retain brilliant teachers and leaders and provide more support to ensure high-quality teaching of T-levels. And there will be £35 million more for targeted interventions to support students on Level 3 A-level equivalent courses who failed their GCSE Maths and English. Together, this package will ensure that we are building the skills that our country needs to thrive in the future. I'm sure that many in this House will be very eager to know what this announcement means for their constituency, their local area and their constituents. When this information is ready, I'll be writing to members with further details on the impact on schools in their local areas. Mr. Speaker, now more than ever is the time to invest in the next generation. That is what this party and this government is doing, making sure that our children get the very best. And I commend this statement to the House.